I'm Julie Morley, and welcome to Alumni Kitchen. Today, our guest chef is a former student of mine, Brian Giblin, and Brian is a 1988 graduate of Riverside Brookfield High School and a graduate of the Culinary School at Kendall College. And we are very happy to have him here today.
Well, thank you.
And he's going to prepare a lovely dessert for us.
The dessert we're going to prepare today is a chocolate truffle cake. It's mostly chocolate. It uses 1 pound of chocolate, half a pound of unsalted butter, 6 eggs, and it is cooked for approximately 15 minutes, refrigerated and cooled for 45, and then let refrigerate again for another 3 hours. Today we're going to start. Right now I've got it in this pan right here is 1 pound of semi-sweet chocolate and a half a pound of butter, which you are melting over warm water, which is called bain-marie, and you let melt down completely.
And Brian, this is what the homemaker would call a double boiler.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So we don't confuse them too much.
All right. In the restaurant, we would just have a large bain-marie, and we just place it in the water there and wait.
Now, the purpose of cooking it over the water is so that it doesn't burn, right?
Correct, correct. If you do it directly over a flame or an electric, you will have a tendency to burn it and it will break down, and it wouldn't be very pleasant.
Okay.
Right now I'm going to start on my eggs. Take 6 large grade A eggs, crack them into a bowl.
I like how you're cracking those eggs.
It's a habit you get into.
I'm sure.
Trying not to get pieces of shell into it. It's not a nice thing to bite into. Thank you. Mix them thoroughly.
Now, do you recommend using the whisk?
Yes, using whisk. Now this is somewhat of a difficult part. You can do it one of 2 ways. You can do it over the double boiler system, which generally sometimes takes a little bit longer, and you have 2 pots going on at the same time. Me personally, I like to use direct heat. If you got a gas range over the fire over about medium heat, electric range about medium, medium high. And to perform this, is you want to create what's called a sabillon. Mix thoroughly and continue to mix while placing over the warm heat. Because once you stop mixing, the eggs will settle and you'll start getting scrambled eggs. And you don't want that.
So you have to really
really whisk vigorously.
Vigorous, okay.
Remove it from the heat for a little bit, continue mixing.
Okay. And when you say sabillon, what exactly does that mean?
Well, there's different types of sabillons. This one, you can have ones that would just take egg yolks, sugar, and white wine, which makes a great sauce.
Okay.
But generally it also means to whip eggs into about 3 times its volume.
Right. So double meaning.
Right. It all depends on the cookbook and the chef you're working with.
Okay.
Sabillons are also great for preparing ices, like sherbets, Italian ices.
Okay. Now, Brian, right now you are in the pastry department at...
Correct, at the Hyatt Lodge in Oak Brook. And I'm responsible for the pastries that go out for all the banquets and the 2 restaurants we do have in the morning. The morning shift's it's interesting because you start at 5 a.m., so you got to be there at around 4:45 and dressed ready to go at 5. And it's really interesting. You meet really interesting people there. You meet them from all over the world, and it's a lot of fun.
Good. Do you think you'll stay in the pastry field?
For a little bit, yeah. And then I plan to move on into banquets and garde manger. My end goal is to become an executive chef of my own kitchen.
Okay.
Not necessarily my own restaurant, but of a hotel or major corporation.
That's a nice goal.
Pardon?
I said that's a good gold. That's getting a lot of extra volume in at this point.
Now to check to see if it's done, pull the whisk up and you look at it in the light. And you should be able to see a little bit of steam vapors off it.
Okay. So we're not quite ready yet?
No, not quite ready yet.
Would you ever use a mixer for this part, a hand mixer or
we will be
electric?
using a mixer later,
okay,
after it comes up to the temperature that we want.
Okay.
You get a good workout with your hand on
I
this.
know.
It's a really good workout.
Working in a kitchen all day is a long, hard day, isn't it?
It goes really fast, believe it or not. It really does, because you're kept extremely busy. It's not like an office situation where you sit down at a desk. We do desk work, you know, preparing our menus and getting ready for banquets and getting sheets ready on inventory. But we're also in the kitchen a lot, preparing. And next thing you know, your 8 hours is up, and then next thing you know, you've put in 12 hours. And it just really flies by really quick, especially when you're busy. The busier you are, the faster the day will go. If it's real slow, you'll have a tendency to watch that clock, and next thing you know, it's taking forever.
I'm sure, yeah.
Take a look at it. Nope, not quite ready yet.
Okay. How is the other, the chocolate doing?
Yeah, it's just about ready. All the lumps of the butter is almost completely melted through. And that will be just about ready.
Brian, you took all of our foods courses here, didn't
Yep.
you? I thought I remembered that. Do you feel that they helped you get ready for school?
Oh yes, definitely, definitely. They taught me a lot of the basics in that when I got into school, some of my classmates had no idea. And I had that extra little step above them that helped assist through my first block classes. And it was a really big convenience.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, of course. A
bit more. I prefer gas over electric because you get instant heat.
We've heard that before. It's a little bit different working with electric utilities. I see a little steam, I think.
Maybe a bit more.
Now, Kendall is one of the newer schools, isn't it, in
Correct.
the culinary world?
It's been around for about, I think, 6 years now. And we've got a young staff working there, young chefs. We've got a restaurant that the students go into in the last year, the second year. And we start off working banquets, and we go to lunch production, and then finally dinner production. Lunch production, basically, for the restaurant, we'll take reservations for about 25, 30, up to about 60 maximum. And it's American Nouvelle cuisine. While dinner, they'll take about the same number of reservations, while that is classical provincial French. Lunches for the school range around $12. That includes a first course item, second course item, and a dessert. Your beverage is extra. And dinner is a la carte.
Okay.
Dinner's a la carte. But the quality you get is equal to that of Le Tour or La Francais, but at half the price.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And you get that little ambiance of students who are a little bit afraid and everything like that, and it's really neat if you've never tried it before.
No, I haven't been to Kendall's restaurant.
It's something different.
I've been to Johnson & Wales, and that's the school in Providence, Rhode Island, which is one of the ones I know that you were thinking about.
Yep, I was looking at that one, and I was looking at the CIA also. And what I liked about Kendall is I can go to Kendall and get the same education as I would at the CIA, because Kendall is considered to be the CIA of the Midwest. Everything is patented off the CIA, all of its courses. In fact, not too long ago, the CIA hosts the Master Chef program in order to become certified for a Master Chef.
Right.
And that's for the East Coast, and now they have for the Midwest and the West Coast now comes to Kendall College. It's been certified.
Wonderful. Yes, Kendall is really on the move.
Yes, it is. It's a really great school.
For the benefit of our viewing audience, if you don't know what CIA stands for, that's the Culinary Institute of America, which is the oldest school in the United States for culinary preparation.
It was opened in what, 1947, I think it was?
I don't really know exactly, but it's the first American school. And we've had students go to CIA and Kendall and Triton and Joliet Junior College and Johnson & Wales and a host of other schools. How would you compare the restaurant experience at Kendall to the mini restaurant experience that you were in here?
Oh, it's a lot different.
Different.
The mini restaurant experience here gave the students a basic taste of what the restaurant industry was going to be like. Gave them the ability to do things on their own. Somewhat of a power situation, if you want to call that. Let them on their own, really, to do their own menus. But the one at Kendall is almost exactly like a restaurant would be.
Okay.
The situation. You have paying customers, well, you have paying customers here.
But they just walk in off the street kind of thing.
Right. Plus they have to have reservations, but they're not always the same clientele.
Right.
Here, generally, you have the same clientele over and over.
Right. How are we doing here?
Yeah, it's ready.
Good.
It's ready.
It sure has changed from the eggs that you put in there a few minutes ago.
Yep, the volume has gone up, increased rapidly, about 3 times the volume, original volume. You want to place the eggs in here.
Want to whisk? No.
And the bottom here is what you want to avoid. Okay. These little lumps down here,
yes.
That means it's curdled a little bit.
So we don't want those in?
No.
Okay.
You don't want too many of those
so we don't want that rubber scraper up here.
No.
Okay.
Place it into your mixing bowl.
Okay.
And turn it on. Let it whisk until it cools down. Meanwhile, check your chocolate, which is ready. Right.
Smells good.
Now to this chocolate, you're able to add some flavor to it. You can add Grand Passion, Grand Marnier. If you want a little bit of rum to it, you can add rum. Okay. But not too much where you change the consistency of it.
Right.
Just enough to flavor it. If you add, like I said, too much, you will change the consistency and the cake will be either too runny or too thick.
Okay. So you could use any liqueur you wanted based on your flavor.
Frangelico works great. Rum's great.
Okay.
Creme de menthe. Any particular flavor you would like. I used bittersweet chocolate. You can go half and half. Use half baker's chocolate, half bittersweet. You can use all white chocolate if you'd like. It's totally up to the individual.
Okay.
You have to play with the recipe.
Okay, now how long are we going to beat the eggs for now?
Until it's cooled down. It's still warm. If you feel the bottom, You feel it's warm?
Okay, so it's cool.
Right. Oh, it popped out. Notice how the volume has increased even more since I put it in there?
Right. Now I noticed that you're using a Hobart KitchenAid. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, it's one of the best models on the market, really. Okay. There are other companies you can buy from, but they just don't take the abuse. Even though we don't abuse them, it just
the amount of use, right.
Right. They don't take the constant pounding of working in that. In a restaurant situation, we use Hobart also. Hobart, well, not the KitchenAid version, the larger 5-quart and 25-quart gallons, which are floor models. They build the best and most sturdiest model for the price.
Okay. That looks beautiful.
It's almost cooled down, too.
I don't know if our cameras can pick that up or not, but it's certainly changing in texture and in color.
You can also use, if you don't have one of these mixers on hand, you can also use the little hand mixers, the 2 little beaters on it. Those work great, but you got to move it around a lot, not just in one place.
And then it would be on the highest speed?
Highest speed possible, correct, because that's what this is on right now.
And as long as you would keep moving it around, you get more action.
More volume.
Okay.
More volume, more air. You can also do it by hand.
Oh, I wouldn't want to do this by hand.
No.
We've come a long way since great-grandmother's day.
Oh, yeah. Notice the volume now.
Oh, yeah. That's
it's
really pretty.
Thick and airy and
beautiful. And they all out there cannot smell the aroma of this chocolate, but it smells wonderful.
Oh, yeah, you know whose chocolate I use? Is Baker's.
Okay.
Baker's semi-sweet. Works great. If you want to go all the way, you can buy Verona's chocolate. You can buy Gaudavia's chocolate, but that's the real expensive stuff.
Right. You don't need to do that.
No, you really don't have to. Get off your spoon.
So basically, we have very simple ingredients.
Right. Now we're going to fold in to the chocolate mixture half of this.
Okay.
Okay, now you can either use 2 methods of folding. You can use the whisk here, which I prefer, or you can use the spatula. I will show you both.
Okay.
Put in half. It's the same way, but instead of, you turn it. Go from the center of the bottom all the way up and turn.
So the term is fold.
Correct.
Okay.
You don't want to lose too much volume.
So you must be very gentle.
Right. Constantly turning the whisk.
Okay. And you're going to use the rubber spatula?
I'll show you the rubber spatula.
Okay. Should I pour this in?
You can pour it directly in. Making sure you get all of it, because, you know, even though you're not in a restaurant, it's still cost that you're leaving behind here. That's 4 or 5 cents you're leaving behind.
Okay.
And after a while, that adds up. And pretty soon, you're missing $10, $15.
Your employer would like to hear that. That's good.
Folding with the spatula is basically the same thing, but you come up from the bottom, hold up flat, and turn.
Okay.
And this time, we don't want any streaks at all.
Okay. So
Around
this is
the
going to
side.
take a little while.
Behind you, I've already prepared a pan You can use one of two pans. You can use a springform pan or you can use a standard cake pan. The problem with the springform is it has to be sealed properly because it's going to be going in double. And there's going to be water underneath this.
Okay, so now I noticed that you've prepared the pan with wax paper or parchment paper?
Wax paper or parchment paper, whichever you can get. Make sure it's well greased.
All right. What do you prefer to grease with?
You can use one of two things. You can use straight melted butter, or you can use Pam.
Okay.
Vaseline, any type of spray is great too. Sometimes that's more convenient and works just as well.
Okay. Do you flour also or no?
No.
No. Okay.
This is almost on the version of a flourless chocolate cake.
Yes.
But there's no sugar in it, and the method and technique is different. But it's almost the same.
So now, is this something that you would have on your menu?
Yes, yes. We would serve it with either a raspberry coulis or we could serve it with a creme anglaise sauce. Right now, we'd serve it with a creme anglaise because raspberries are out of season and they're extremely expensive right now, and the quality isn't that high to deserve making a sauce.
You wouldn't use frozen? No.
You can use frozen, but sometimes they put additives and pre-sweeten them, and it's just not right.
Okay.
You can make a creme anglaise out of it, which I would show you, but it's kind of complicated and take up another program. And that's just using cream and yolks and sugar.
Right.
And you cook it off. Place it in the pan. Making sure it's nice and level.
Okay.
Like I said, you do the same thing if you had a springform, but you got to make sure that springform is sealed. Maybe I want to take this too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
And then you'd put this in a larger pan filled with about 1.5 inches of hot water. You can use the water that you used right here for your melting of your chocolate. Works perfect. But you don't want this to float in the pan, and you don't want it to go over the edges.
All right, so about how much water do you really
want?
About
1 inch, about halfway.
About
halfway. Inch and a half, correct. Okay. And you let it bake for 5 minutes in a 425-degree oven, preheated. And after 5 minutes are up, buzzer will go off, and you'll take another piece of wax paper or parchment paper that you've either pre-buttered or used to spray on. Place it gently on top and let it bake again for another 10 minutes. After the buzzer goes off again, you take it out of the oven, put it on a cooling rack or someplace where it will cool nicely and evenly for about 45 minutes.
Okay.
And about halfway through that 45-minute time, you'd want to take that paper off because moisture will build up because it's still hot here. And moisture and condensation will cause to be formed, and it will react with the chocolate, and it won't be a pretty sight.
Okay.
So you'd want to take it off, and then you'd take it, wrap it thoroughly after it's cooled, after the 45-minute cooling period, put it in your refrigerator, let it sit for about 3 hours until you have the chocolate and everything solidify. And to take it out of the pan, if you're using springform, go around with a knife gently, because you don't want to peel any of the metal off onto the cake. And you slowly release the springform, or you slowly tap it, turn it over and slowly tap it out of here.
Okay.
And what you get is our final product over here.
It looks so pretty. Beautiful.
It's a denser cake. It's almost like truffles, chocolate truffles that you buy in the store. It's really dense. It's really, really rich.
It certainly looks it.
Goes great with cappuccino, great cup of coffee, strong. This is the slice of it. Now you'd want to slice it with a hot knife, and you do that by running the knife under hot water or urn water. Cook off some water in your coffee maker, dip your knife in there and cut through. Because if you don't do that, what would happen is it will crack, just like chocolate cracks. And you'll have broken pieces all over the place and you won't get a nice clean cut. And after each cut you want to wipe off your knife, dip it again.
Okay, I was going to ask you that. You want to get that nice and hot each time.
Right,
to get the clean cuts.
And you'd put this under a plate, place it on a plate, and you'd put it under creme anglaise or a raspberry coulis. The raspberry coulis, all it is pureed raspberries with a little bit of sugar or a simple syrup, which is equal portions of water and syrup, or sugar boiled. And that goes really great with this. It adds a little bit of a tartness to sometimes a really sweet cake.
Okay.
Or you can use a creme anglaise, which is a white. And it's a really nice cake, something nice for very special occasions, Christmas and that.
Okay. I noticed your garnish on this particular slice is a dollop of whipped cream.
Yeah, I piped some whipped cream on it. It's just basic whipped cream with a little bit of sugar added to it, a tad of vanilla. You can use 1 or 2 sugars, either powdered sugar or granulated sugar.
Okay.
If you want that whipped cream to stay for a couple hours, you're going to use it for dinner and it's like noon and you're going to whip it up. Use the powdered sugar. It helps stabilize it for a long period of time. But if you're going to use it right away, use the granulated sugar.
Okay.
We'll give it that little extra and just a smidgen of vanilla. Or you can use Crème Marnier, like you did in the cake, or Grand Passion, or any kind of liqueur.
Okay. I have another question. I know this, but maybe some people don't realize that the reason that the maraschino cherry juice is not all over that whipped cream is what you've done to it ahead of time?
Right. I took the maraschinos, strained them, and rinsed them under some water, and patted them dry, with paper towels. Okay. Or you can just shake them off. Make sure they're really dry or else they will bleed all over.
And that's not such a pretty sight.
It's not a pretty sight either.
Okay, that's beautiful. Well, I'd love to sample this, if it's okay with you.
Well, this one right here we used for demonstration. It's all straight baker's chocolate. Because I was afraid some of the lights may melt some of the chocolate. That's the problem with this cake too. Is if it's under extreme heat conditions, you don't want to take it in the car with you during the summer because it will melt all over the place because it's mostly chocolate and butter. With the eggs basically as a binding agent and a leavening agent.
Okay. So it would be better to wait until this one's done.
Right, that'd be better.
All
this is a real bitter, you wouldn't really care for it too much. But it's a really great cake. You'll really
smells
like
wonderful.
it. You can try the batter if you'd like to try the batter.
Oh, okay. I have a tasting spoon here. I love chocolate. It's divine, absolutely delicious. Well, Brian, we thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
And we wish you much luck in your career. And bon appetit from Julie Morley and Alumni Kitchen.
If you would like to receive a copy of today's Alumni Kitchen recipe or other recipes from Alumni Kitchen shows, please write to Alumni Kitchen, Riverside Brookfield High School, Riverside, Illinois, 60546. Attention AV Department. We look forward to hearing from you.